Hey folks, Matt Schauf of DraftSharks.com here to give you 4 wide receiver trade targets for your Dynasty League right now. Let's start off with number 1, Stefon Diggs. The Bills wide receiver turns 30 at the end of November, so he might seem like the kind of guy that you want to get rid of in Dynasty, but we're going to get into why that is not the case with Diggs specifically. If you look at Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty rankings for Superflex or others, he's wide receiver 15. On the Fantasy Pros consensus dynasty ranking, Stefon Diggs sits at wide receiver 10. Now, if you look at the wide receiver rankings for Dynasty on DraftSharks.com, you'll see Stefon Diggs at number 9, and he climbs even higher to number 7 if you sort by those 3-year projections that you're likely to only find on DraftSharks.com. That's right, we have 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, and even 10-year projections for every player. So that really helps you put the proper scope on what you're looking for and what to expect from each player. So like I said, Stefon Diggs, still the wide receiver 7 if you sort by those 3-year projections. And really, I don't know about you, but that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at who's going to give me the most value 5 years from now. I want to win over the next few years. And Stefon Diggs is still squarely in the territory of his career where he can do that. Our research shows that high-end wide receivers age gracefully versus other positions, not so much as quarterback, but running backs, tight ends. It's a graceful position if you look at high-end performers at wide receivers. Historically, Diggs is likely to have 3 years left near his scoring max, near his peak production. And on the screen right now is the chart that represents the numbers powering those dynasty projections you looked at a minute ago. Now, obviously, not every player age is the same, but historically, we're looking at a player who's likely to keep giving us high-end production, which is what Stefon Diggs has been doing and why we're targeting him in the first place. He is signed through 2027, his age 34 season, and Stefon Diggs is still tied for 8th in value among wide receivers on our brand new Dynasty Trade value chart, which is live on DraftSharks.com now. And not only that, it's free to look at, so you don't even have to be a DS Insider to check this one out. But if we go to the Dynasty Trade value chart, we search for Diggs, we find that he is 8th among wide receivers, we find a specific value for him, and then we can see what we're looking to give to get him. Now, you still might not be convinced about going after a veteran because it is Dynasty, youth is the name of the game, and really, if you read our Dynasty strategy stuff on DraftSharks University, you'll see that we're looking for youth as well. So let me swing over to that and check our pillars for playing Dynasty Fantasy Football. If we look at number 3, being bold on the trade market, that's what we're doing right here, right? We're talking about trade targets. And the first one, don't be afraid to sell a year early. So that's high. And you might think that Stefon Diggs is the kind of player that fits into that category. Don't be afraid to sell him a year early because if you wait, he's going to fall off and he won't have the trade value. Maybe that's the case. I don't think it is with Diggs. Again, has yet to turn 30, doesn't turn 30 until late in this season, and he should remain productive beyond that age 30 season, just looking at historical production and how long his contract goes with the Bills. If you scroll down a little further past that too, you see there can be value in acquiring veterans. That's where Stefon Diggs applies for me because I know other people are going to be looking to get out on him a year early. I think if they do that this offseason, they're doing it more like 3 years too early. So I'll be the one buying. You might be able to get Stefon Diggs straight up for Devontae Smith, Drake London, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I'd make that trade in all 3 cases because I think Stefon Diggs is going to be a top-level wide receiver producer this year, probably next year, quite possibly the year after that, and then we'll see. Like I said, his contract goes through 2027, so the Bills are not ready to quit on him. Number 2 on the list is Jerry Jeudy. Now, Jerry Jeudy produced last year, and he probably produced at a higher level than what you even realize he did. In his 12 healthy games, Jeudy put up a fantasy scoring average that would have ranked 13th among wide receivers in PPR leagues last year, 14th among wide receivers in half PPR. He ranked 7th in yards per target among 80 wide receivers that saw 50-plus targets. He ranked 12th in that group in yards per route. So he was a top-level wide receiver performer last year, and that was despite bad quarterback play and a struggling offense overall. Now, the reason that you might not have noticed all that production is because Jeudy also dealt with a chest injury and an ankle injury that limited his time on the field and even limited him in some of the games in which he played. But when Judy's been healthy, he has consistently outperformed Courtland Sutton, and that's a key here. We've heard trade rumors on Jeudy and Sutton. It's still quite possible one of these guys gets dealt this offseason. The uncertainty on Jeudy between that and the fact that this is the last year on his rookie contract can be viewed as a negative by many fantasy managers. But is that uncertainty really negative? It could just as easily be a positive. Maybe Courtland Sutton is the one who gets traded before this season starts, and all of a sudden, everybody views Jerry Jeudy as that much more valuable, and then you get a spike in value before he's even played a game this season. Or maybe Jeudy just plays out this contract in Denver and then signs somewhere else that really wants him and then produces. The point is, I don't think the fact that we don't know what Jeudy looks like beyond this season is a negative. I don't think it's a reason to sell him. I think it's a reason to buy him because you might get depressed value based on that. Jeudy just turned 24 in April, so he is very early in his journey, has not reached his peak age yet, is not in his prime yet as far as historical fantasy production goes. Our trade value chart finds Jerry Jeudy valued right along with Chris Olave, in between Chris Olave and Quentin Johnston here, tied with Quentin Johnston, actually, if you look at the values. So that gives you the sort of range of wide receivers that we compare him to value-wise. You could use that as a guide for who to trade one for one. A lot of times I find trading a player one for one for a player that's valued in the same range at the same position is really not worth a whole lot because none of us really knows what that guy is going to do going forward. And if we have them valued similarly, it means we expect similar value going forward. So I tend to trade one for another position or package players where I feel like I'm getting an upgrade, maybe giving somewhere else. Now, if you have not done your rookie drafts yet, the value chart that we were just looking at can show you that if you give any rookie pick this year from 1.04 on, let's swing back over there to look at the specific values. So we've got not only players, but rookie picks in this chart. And you can see by the value numbers that Jerry Jeudy is equal to or greater than the value of every pick in this year's rookie draft from 104 down. So if you haven't picked yet and you have a pick anywhere from 1-4 down, we're saying that you can give that pick for Jerry Jeudy, and that is just a fine move. You're getting a wide receiver who has already produced, probably has not reached his production ceiling in the NFL, and has lots of years left. So I think you're getting a good player rather than taking a shot on somebody that we just haven't seen yet. Again, it's 1-4 down. So if I'm picking 101, 102, 103, those spots you can stick there, take your player, but plenty of other things that you can trade to get Jerry Jeudy right now. Number 3 on our list is DK Metcalf. Now, part of DK Metcalf's allure, I think, is the buzz around that rookie that I just mentioned, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Metcalf is wide receiver 14 on Keep Trade Cut right now. He's wide receiver 13 in the Fantasy Pros consensus rankings for Dynasty. He is our wide receiver 11, 19th among all wideouts in target share last year, 10th in 2021. So he's already gotten that target share that we're looking for. Jackson Smith-Njigba is already ahead of DK Metcalf in value on Keep Trade Cut. So that doesn't mean that everybody values him ahead of DK Metcalf, but it means you can find people out there that think JSN is worth more than DK Metcalf. And that's why we're going to buy Metcalf right now. Again, he's the one who has already given us production. He's the one who has already earned NFL targets. Metcalf is only 25 right now. He doesn't turn 26 until mid-December. He is signed through 2025. And of course, the reason we like him is it's because he's this big dude that works downfield and has a career 11.4% touchdown rate, 61.3% catch rate. That's a good number as well for a guy who works downfield. Metcalf is also sitting ahead of that Devontae Smith, Drake London, JSN trio on our value chart that I mentioned earlier. I wouldn't trade Devontae Smith away 1-for-1 to get DK Metcalf, but I'd give the other two players to get Metcalf. And there's plenty more in that value chart that you can give up to get Metcalf, who is still young, who has produced. And what's really the downside on him? Let's say that JSN does, by 2024, pass DK Metcalf in target share. Well, Metcalf has the kind of profile that can still produce very useful fantasy numbers on the number 2 target share on his own team, that downfield play, the high touchdown rate. So there's really not a whole lot of downside to acquiring DK Metcalf. Number 4 on our list is DJ Moore. And when we look at Moore, there's really not a whole lot of difference between our ranking and the market value on him. We are a little bit above, but really that kind of uncertainty is what we're buying in Moore right now. He just turned 26 in April. Everybody likes the player, but everybody's wondering, what does it mean when you go to Chicago? Is that really an improvement for him? Well, the best fantasy season by points per game that DJ Moore had so far came with Kyle Allen as his quarterback in 2019. In 2021, Moore finished wide receiver 18 with Sam Darnold, the second coming of Cam Newton, which was not as good as the first one, and PJ Walker as his quarterbacks. Is Justin Fields worse than any of those guys? Whatever you think of Justin Fields, even if you don't think that he's going to progress as a passer, is he anything worse than what DJ Moore has had to work with so far? Now, on the other hand, what if Justin Fields improves this season? What if the Bears throw a lot more this season, which they very easily could? They not only were the most run-heavy team in the league last year, they had historically low passing volume. So they could get to league average in pass rate, and it would be an enormous jump versus what they did last year. So what if they combine Justin Fields' improvement with a lot more passing and DJ Moore operating as a true number one receiver? I mean, can we rule out a wide receiver 1 level season from DJ Moore in 2023? I can't. I'm not saying I'm betting on it happening, but I can't rule out the possibility that it does. And if that does happen, we're sitting here a year from now talking about how stupid we were to not buy DJ Moore a year ago. So if you can get DJ Moore for a round 1 rookie pick next year, 2024, you win. If you can get one in 2025, if you can give a 2025 first rounder and get DJ Moore, you're doing great. Otherwise, check the Dynasty trade value chart for player matches, for pick matches. Use your trade navigator on draftsharks.com to help build a specific package to go after DJ Moore. And if you haven't done so already, become a DS Insider today to take advantage of our entire suite of Dynasty tools.